Ahoy, what is going on guys? My name is TriggerJack and welcome back. So again, we're gonna play Skirmish mode on the Master difficulty. Today, moving on to the Judland Wastes map and starting off with the Fighter Squadron. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry. I was supposed to upload a video already yesterday on the Twilight on Hoth and everything was ready, but the file got corrupted somehow and I couldn't actually deliver it on YouTube, so I'm sorry for that. I'll have to redo the whole video and post it on in probably at the end of this week. But I have, of course, more of the videos on the skirmish mode on all the maps that are available right now, and I will be uploading them as the days go by. So please tune in if you are interested on that. Today I would like to talk a bit more about my impressions on the Star Wars Battlefront Skirmish mode specifically, as I got to touch some of the different maps and actually got to experience how does the gameplay with the different maps and how does it feel for the different parties actually. As you can tell, I have switched from the Rebels to the Empire, and it does give you a little bit different experience. I mean, obviously your goals in the maps are quite different. Even in the Fire Squadron, flying as the Slave 1 is quite different than the Millennium Falcon, because this ship is just a freaking tank. It doesn't have the fast drive, it doesn't have the shield. Instead of that, it has a set of two different kind of rockets, which are devastating when fighting against both the Millennium Falcon and the transporting ships. It is very easy to destroy those ships with the Slave 1, definitely much easier than with the Millennium Falcon, so that was fun. However, it is harder to fly the Slave 1 as it is not as flexible and fast as the Millennium Falcon, so it is a little heavier on the driving and on the skills of the turning and looping in the skies. So, but other than that, fighting for the Empire, it's still fun. The Fire Squadron is amazing. On the Master difficulty, you have a bunch of fighters fighting on both of the sides, and that is actually one of the first observations that I had in the game, that switching the difficulty in the Fire Squadron mode, it does affect the number of fighters that you have in the game. If you put on the normal game mode, or at least when I played it, you do have about 9 or 10 fighters on each side, but here you actually have about 20 party on each side on the Master difficulty. And that definitely ramps up the experience of the game and ramps up the experience from the battle. You are constantly swamped by the fire or by the blasts from your enemies, and you have quite something to do to avoid getting shot. Although it's not impossible to win the round, it is definitely challenging, and it does take some time for you to actually take down the enemies. I would say much harder than in the online multiplayer, when it doesn't take that long for you to take down the enemy fighters. What I do like here is the ability to play as the hero, because that's something you don't really get to do on the online game that often, as other players that are playing are most likely searching for that token for the Millennium Falcon or the Slave 1 at the same time as you are. So it's definitely nice that you can actually try that gameplay, and you can try to play for the heroes and for those ships, and enjoy that, calmly. Calmly. You get to enjoy it in the battlefield, which you wouldn't normally do in the online game because you wouldn't really get to it. So that is nice. Again, observations, what I like is that you can definitely take down the transporters much easier with a Slave 1 than with the Millennium Falcon. And the Slave 1 takes down Millennium Falcon under the full fire much faster than the Millennium Falcon is trying to take down the Slave 1. It takes longer.
neutralize that transport ship. Direct hit. Their transport is down. Continue sending fire. They're waning. Target that transport ship. Attack at will. Target eliminated. All too easy.
That's the wrong way, trooper. You've abandoned your post. Rebels coming into your range. This is Omega 9 responding.
Draw enemy forces away from the lander shuttle. Our transport shuttle escaped. Excellent.
Prepare to engage enemy fighters.
Omega 11, ready to assist.
Going to the Walker Assault, there I do have kind of mixed impressions, although I am still excited and still happy that the update has delivered this option for the gamers to play in a single player, those maps and those modes. On the Master mode, it is incredibly hard. It is, in my opinion, harder than when you play the survival mode, where you do need to get shot at least a couple times before you die. But in the Master mode on in the Skirmish and Walker Assault, it literally takes only one shot for you to go down, and it normally wouldn't be a problem, I guess, because I mean it doesn't really matter how many times you die. But when you die, you get spawned on the outskirt of the map, and it takes you a while to actually get back into the battle. It does get frustrating when you spend about a minute traveling back into the battle, and then it takes 5 seconds for you to die without being able to actually take down anyone. That part I found a little frustrating. However, in the Judland Wastes, I did have a little different experience. Again, I switched the sides, so that might have something to do with that as well, as the goals are different. Here you're trying to protect the walker until it gets to the main area so it can shoot down the transporter that's trying to escape the planet. When you're playing for the rebels, you're on the other hand trying to take down those walkers before it shoots down the transporter. On both sides, on the Master difficulty, it is hard to score many kills during the gameplay itself. However, it is not that impossible, again, to win the game if you know how to ride the snowspeeder at least a little bit, and you actually have the possibility of using the snowspeeder at the last third of the battle on Walker Assault when you fight for the rebels. It is not that difficult to take down both of the walkers at the same time with one snowspeeder if you know how to handle it, because you don't really get to score that much damage to the walker during the game, as it is very ramped up, and the bombs from the Y-wings don't really do that much damage, and you don't really get to do that much damage to the walker yourself when you're a regular soldier, or even when you're riding the X-wing. However, when you're in the snowspeeder, you can take down the walker on a single try. However, comparing it to fighting for the Empire, you know, it is different. You are mainly focused on taking down the soldiers themselves, so they do not activate the links, and they do not call in the bombarders to take down the AT-AT. So the whole goal of the Empire game is much easier for the single player than when you're playing for the Rebels. For the Rebels, you cannot only focus on killing the stormtroopers, but also you have to focus on scoring damage to the walker itself, which you don't really have to do when you're playing for the Empire. And you can tell that here in the Judland Wastes that I am only focusing myself on taking down the soldiers as fast as I can and keeping them from activating the links. That is really the only goal you have in that game, which is okay. I mean, in my opinion, the skirmish modes do serve several major points for the single player. Beside of the fact that you can now play it on split screen or as an online co-op mission, which you couldn't have done before other than the survival mode, which is a great improvement, as that is exactly what I was missing in the game. Not being able to play with my friends and trying the fighter squadron with my friends at home. So that is a nice addition. The other point that I think the skirmish is actually fulfilling, and it is fulfilling perfectly, is the ability to actually play as the heroes and for the vehicles as well. Because in the online game, you don't really get that many opportunities to play for the heroes or for the vehicles. Here in the skirmish mode, you are able to actually play for the hero quite often. You can gain experience and skills on playing the heroes, on playing for the heroes, and finding out what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and so on and so forth. Which I think is again something that was missing in the game, and it's adding the value to the game itself. I do think that the game itself is going to get patched again as the glitches in the AI behavior, like I said before, the lack of behavior actually for either one of the parties at particular moments of the battle are still in the game, and they do bring down the experience from the game. I mean, as you can see here on the Judland Wastes, it is different. It was much more active. AIs on both of the sides I found very active, very proactive, seeking the enemy, trying to get into the conflict, trying to keep up with their mission and so on. So I did think that the Jutland Wastes were much better. Also, I do think that it's a more condensed map, and so it does offer larger number of closed areas for combat, which again supports the better excitement or better experience from the game. So overall, my experience from the 3 or 4 maps that I have played so far are definitely mixed. It does depend on the map that you play, which experience you will have with the game and the skirmish mode itself. So for now, that is all from me. I will be uploading more videos on the remaining maps for the skirmish mode, so I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Please leave a comment in the comment section below so we can discuss the different maps, we can discuss your impressions from the skirmish mode and from the master difficulty or any other difficulty that you have played. Hit me up on Twitter, you can find the link on my channel art, and I will be uploading another video quite soon on the remaining maps for the skirmish mode. So that is all from me for now. My name is TriggerJack, thank you for watching, subscribe for more content like this one, and I'll see you next time, bye bye.
Rebel uplink has been deactivated. Proceed as planned.
Rebel bombers are making their attack run. Now Walker has the GR-75 transport in range, firing at will. Walker's drive motor is less than optimal. Push the rebels back.